Hi, my name is Tatiana Muniz. I'm the SEO copywriter here in Strategic Communications at UC Davis, and I'm going to talk about layouts and SEO. But first, I want to ask you a few questions, and keep in mind that UX and UI and SEO go together as you're answering these. Feel free to write your answers in the chat box whenever throughout the whole presentation. We're going to revisit this at the end. So number 1, what do search engines care about most? Number 2, what do search engines care about least? And number 3, what do search engines absolutely hate? So go ahead and write down your answers and let me know what you think. All right, so first, clarity and readability. A clear and readable web page layout makes it easy for users to find the information they are looking for. This can help improve your website's bounce rate, which is a factor that most search engines use in the ranking algorithm. So keep in mind these questions. Is your navigation intuitive? Do you have clear titles and headers? And is your reading level grade 7 to 8? That's a big one for us here at UC Davis, since we like to make our writing a little bit higher level since we're a university. But it's important to lower that grade level so that it's more accessible and so that Google and other search engines will prioritize our content because it's seen as being made for everybody. Number 2, use of keywords. A well-designed web page layout can help you actually use your keywords effectively. This can help your site rank higher for relevant search terms. So is your primary keyword in your title and headers? Are your secondary keywords in your headers and body paragraphs? Do you have keywords in your URL and meta description? You want to make sure that your target keywords are prioritized and easy to see. Images aren't just a great way to improve the visual appeal of your site. Search engines have actually been prioritizing images above websites on search engine results pages. So ask yourself, are my images relevant to my content or purely decorative? Does every image use appropriate keywords in the alt text and file name? Are my images too large or too small for web? Too large and it can really hurt your page speed. Too small and it just doesn't look very good. It's too low quality for people to see. All right, mobile-friendly design. So more people are using their mobile devices to access the internet, and search engines are making mobile a priority. So mobile-friendly sites will outrank those that aren't mobile-friendly. Ask yourself, does my website have a responsive layout? Is my content readable on a mobile device? Are links and buttons easy to tap? Basically, you should be prioritizing your mobile design over your desktop. So here are some things to keep in mind. You want to have responsive design. You want it to be mobile friendly. You want to have fast page speed. You want to have internal linking. I know that this might be kind of confusing, but for search engines, they will prioritize your pages that have more internal links because to them, that's telling them that that page is more important than other pages. You want to have clear content that is very easy to read and to figure out what are we talking about on this page. You want to have good metadata, make sure all of your pages have optimized metadata, especially for sites that are relying mostly on visuals. In that case, you need to prioritize your metadata so that search engines will know how to categorize your page. You of course need to have relevant keywords as always and make sure that they're easily seen. You want to have alt tags and file names. That kind of goes along with metadata, but just make sure you have those not just for accessibility, which is extremely important, but so that you just have a good user experience in general and so that search engines can categorize your site. You want to have data tracking because you need to know what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong, and you can see that with data. And keep in mind your URL structure and just the structure of your site in general. It should be very clear and easy to navigate. So let's go over some examples of optimized versus unoptimized layouts. But first, let's go back to those questions. So what do search engines care about most? They care about making it easier for users to find what they're searching for. In other words, you need to have relevant content and you need to have intuitive design, because those two things are going to help users easily find the answers to their questions. 2, what do search engines care about least? Content that is irrelevant to the search query or relevant content that's hard to find. In other words, making it harder for users to find what they're searching for. 3. What do search engines absolutely hate? Misinformation, spam, and harmful content. If you're engaging in any of these, if any of your content is misinformation, spam, or is harmful to your users, you will be deranked. Best case scenario. Worst case scenario, your whole website will be banned by search engines. So here's our first example of an unoptimized homepage. This is Zara. This is a clothing store, and this is the whole homepage. It just is flipping through photos. There's not really a navigation. You'd have to go into the hamburger menu to open that up, but it's really hard to see in that top left corner. Folks might have to resort to going into the search bar to find whatever they're looking for if they're confused. And that's what we don't want, right? Like, this would be great as a digital lookbook, as a magazine that's just focusing on visuals, but as a clothing store, it's kind of hard to navigate this just from looking at it. And notice how the only words really that are prominent on the page are Zara, and that's it. Search engines aren't going to be able to tell that this is a clothing store from just this page by itself, because the only word on here is Zara, and it doesn't say women's clothing anywhere, for example. It really heavily relies on the metadata to be categorized correctly. Our next example is an IMDb page. Basically, the only bad part about this layout is that it's very, very cluttered. So it's very hard to find anything specific that somebody might be searching for about this actor. Also pay attention to the headers. They're very general, like producer, soundtrack, personal details. Did you know? It's not really utilizing the actor's name. It's just kind of a compilation of everything, and it's hard to tell what is the priority here. And what's worse is that in the sidebar, you have a whole bunch of other items that are unrelated to what you're looking at. That makes it easy to detract from the main content on the page. Here's an example that's good. This is an optimized homepage. We can see that the navigation is super crisp and clear. It's easy to read. It's not cluttered. We have a very clear call to action. We even have a little bit of animation to get our attention. And we have great headers here that have interesting keywords. And we have different kinds of media involved. So it's very attractive. It makes you want to click through to more pages. And it's easy to see what this page is about. It's about clean energy. It's about solar power, technology solutions. It's just very easy to understand what this web page is selling you. This is a good example. And here's an example of an optimized page, just a regular page in a website. This one is very clearly a wine 101 guide. You can tell from the headers that it's answering some really basic questions about red wine versus white wine. Just based on the content that I'm seeing here, I can tell that they did their keyword research and they actually based this page off of the keyword research. So they created their outline first, more than likely, and then they put the words to the outline to answer people's questions, because I can tell that they're using really high monthly search volume keywords, high ranking keywords, and it is ranking really well. I checked in Google, it's in the top 10. So that makes a lot of sense to me. Their target keywords are prioritized. They have great images, very clear images that space out the content and make it easy to read. They have a lot of good internal links that say to search engines that this is a high priority page. So I really recommend following this example for your own content, especially if you're writing an article or a blog post. And here is a no example. Basically what we were talking about, that number 3 question, what do search engines absolutely hate? They hate pages like this. In fact, Google put this specific example in their guidelines for page raters to say if a page looks like this, they get the absolute lowest ranking. Not only will Google derank a page like this, they could actually ban it because it is harmful to users. The design is not only bad in that, if you look at the headers, they're not very helpful. The call to action is not very helpful. This sidebar shows a lot of spammy, repeated content, but it's not just bad in its design, it's bad in its content, because it's telling folks that if they provide their personal information, their loans will just disappear. And that's just simply incorrect. It's false information, it's harmful information. So never do something like this. I don't have to tell you that because I know you won't do something like this, of course, but this is an example of bannable content. And that's it. I'm happy to answer any questions you have on SEO and layouts. Thank you.